You're running a shop floor, not a Pinterest interest board or a fantasy football league. You don't need inspiration, you need things to work. So welcome to Build Your Way, a podcast from Cetec ERP. This is a show for manufacturers who are in it every day, from quoting and shipping jobs to troubleshooting quality and material shortages, all while staying a step ahead of what's next. We bring you stories from the field, lessons that stick, and strategies that actually scale to help you build better. Let's get to work.
Welcome back to the Build Your Way podcast here at Cetec ERP. I'm Taylor Wagon.
I am Scott Ryan.
And today we have a guest.
Special.
By the name of Jordan Jolly. Jordan, you want to say hi to the cameras?
Hello.
Jordan Jolly is a longtime Cetec employee and somebody who we consider quite a friend. So we're going to mix up our normal format here and do kind of some grab bag questions with Jordan.
I love a little grab bag.
Maybe first we could do a little shout out for our mugs. Scott, you want to?
Oh, yeah. This week is unofficially sponsored by American Syscomtel. Thank you, Perry, for the beverage mug.
Fantastic. All right. A recurring bit here on the Build Your Way podcast is the book review. And today's book is Francis Mallmann's Seven Fires. It's an Argentinian cookbook, which was recommended a couple of years ago in some of the various, best cookbook of the year lists. And I picked it up, and I have a copy at home. And then for the office library, I found a copy actually at the City of Austin main library library sale.
A sale. Okay, I was going to ask, how long overdue is that?
Yeah. There's two recipes worth shouting out in here, and the first one is kind of become a thing I do at my house somewhat frequently. His smashed beets with greens, goat cheese, and garlic chips, highly recommended. The basic cooking technique to put in your list there is to boil the beets for like an hour and a half, so they're real soft, skin on, everything, and then put them in a fry pan with some oil and smash them, and let them get nice and caramelized, and then a little salt and dress them up with whatever.
Sounds lovely.
It's lovely. It's lovely. And the other one is something that my oldest son has been pushing me to do out at, I have a good friend who has a lovely ranch out west of here. And he thinks this would be something we should do. This is the recipe for cooking an entire cow.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a thing. You need some hardware, and you need a cow, and then a lot of fire, and really quite a lot of friends. And you can see them. They're salting it with saline and doing all these things, and it's quite an adventure. Not a thing I've ever done. I think the largest animal I've ever cooked is a sheep. Maybe actually it might be a hog. A hog's probably the largest single animal. I've done a sheep, goat, and some hogs. What's the largest animal you've ever cooked?
Oh, maybe a squirrel.
In its entirety?
Yeah. I mean, like, you're allowed to remove the organs or whatnot, but...
Well, yeah, but you're not, like, quartering...
No.
A fish.
A fish. It was a big fish.
A big fish.
An enormous fish.
Big 6 inches.
Okay, the reason I brought this book for you, Jordan, is we have kind of a recurring bit on when we go travel for trade shows, where at least one of the evenings we will go find a traditional, ridiculous steakhouse, and this is all kind of Argentinian steak cooking. And we've had some very funny events that have taken place there.
We've shared a few steaks.
Sure. I thought you were going to bring up I used to work at a Brazilian steakhouse.
That's another, yeah.
Also true.
Yeah. Which one?
Fogo de Chao.
That was your 2 jobs before Cetec?
2 or 3, yeah.
2 or 3 before Cetec.
Yeah, I went Fogo and then some project construction management, then marketing, then Cetec.
How do you feel like that prepared you for your ERP consulting career?
We could do a different question, maybe. It didn't at all. It didn't.
Customer service?
Yeah, I don't know. That's true. I've actually heard you reference that job more than either of the other ones.
Which one? The steakhouse job?
Yeah. In terms of, like, maybe not directly consultancy, but
I think, FOGO is useful for, there's a term, a lot of restaurant terms, industry terms, being in the shit.
In the industry.
Being in the weeds. That was a helpful, I think. How bad can it get? How busy can one be?
I've often giggled with the way that you guys would phrase things for sales, because as a restaurant, obviously alcohol sales is significant, and the Brazilian drink, like caipirinha, right, which is cachaça with lime and sugar, so it's kind of like a Brazilian daiquiri of sorts.
Brazilian margarita.
And you guys don't know, sell it as a Brazilian margarita. That's
and not just cachaça, which cachaça is like a street rum. It's like fire. This is top shelf cachaça. So lots of fancy stuff. I had a bow tie. It was clip on. I looked like one of those marching monkeys with cymbals. It was excellent. Nothing but the best. Yeah. It was a good job. It was a great job. Yeah. I don't think it prepared me for accounting consulting, though.
Would you like to go for a lunch one of these days?
Always.
I'm sad that we've never gone.
We should probably figure that out.
We could do one of the knockoffs, like Estancia, or I don't know. There's a few of them.
We've done some podcasts on the history of Cetec. Well, you and I talked about the history of Cetec. At some point, we'll have Brent on. Kelly, obviously gave some good perspective, but Jordan's been around a long time. Was it like 14 years?
Third longest tenured employee here.
You're not counting Arlene, though.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. How dare you forget Arlene?
I'm sorry, Arlene. Arlene is in the category all herself.
Watch this, though.
No, but she is in her own category.
Yeah.
You're number 4.
What was the status of Cetec when you were hired?
We were in Business Basic, and Brent and Taylor were writing web plugins to it.
And what were you hired to do?
That's a good question. It was unknown at the time due to my glowing resume.
What is it that you do around here?
Mostly intangible, high-level strategic stuff.
He's a culture hire.
Yeah, culture. It really was a little bit open-ended. There was, web stuff, sales. I was toying with the idea of being a programmer, and we just kind of jumped in and tried to do some things. There's a great story of I did actually learn some coding, and Taylor had me one of my first tasks, like, all right, you've been through a couple code workshops or whatever, so I would like you to write a finite capacity scheduling engine. All right, so go. So late nights, and you're like, what is this? Looking up your Perl books and everything. And I kind of struggled with it a little bit. It's maybe one of our most complex aspects of the software.
Turns out to be pretty hard.
And I think we're still actively writing it 14 years later. But anyways, after about a week, Taylor's like, so what's your progress? I'm pretty stuck here. He's like, you should be in sales.
Did you know that was going to be the end outcome? Or are you just like, let's see what he can do there?
I would love to tell you I had a master plan.
It was really open-ended.
I really don't remember, is the sad thing.
Oh, that makes sense.
It was probably, much more momentous for...
I wrote a website that looked really... I'm not even sure it looked better than the previous one.
But it didn't look worse than the previous one.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Which previous one? Like the most recent one?
No.
Because there was a rough one some years ago.
That was probably mine.
Okay.
But there was
You
one
should have
before
seen
that.
the one before that.
Before that
Yeah.
was, yeah. Anyways, that was, I started doing sales and had to learn a combination of Business Basic menus. Like, you need to go to E37B plus.
Oh, you got a P7 in that order.
You got P7 in the order.
So everything became a verb. Which keystrokes you did would be like, you got to do blank to that thing.
So I don't know what I'm doing, but I know I'm P7ing it.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'd sell, I'd be on a demo selling, at that point we called it Cetec X, which is like a combo of Tech X, the previous company name, and Cetec. You go in the web interface, like, hey, look, this is a web-based quoting tool. This is amazing.
What's the C Bob run?
Yeah.
That's like
Cetec X.
Cetec X.
That was bad.
So you'd be going through this, it's web-based software. It's 2012, 2013. It's all right. And then somebody's like, hey, all right, so how would you actually go what if my PO date changed? Can you show me how to edit the PO? So we had this little black box. We called it WebSocket.
Yeah, there's a terminal.
A terminal inside the web interface. So you'd be like, all right, well, you need to go back to the terminal.
This is what a certain customer called Black Cetec.
Yeah.
There you go. That's right.
Yeah.
There was also blue Cetec and green. Yeah, there's a couple different, colors.
Really change the colors around.
Customize.
Incidentally,
I didn't have a lot of success when customers would see the terminal that looked like it was from Tron or something. So I didn't have a lot of success with that.
They were tough years.
They were tough years.
I mean, we were writing as much code as we could.
Yeah.
You were like keeping up with basically everything else, doing tons of support, trying to do demos with a product that was difficult as, talk about ice to Eskimos kind of situation. And so, like, you were in there, like, and we had all the servers, like, in that closet.
Yeah, the server room.
And the power would go out, and we were just scrambling. It was very stressful, like, trying to get enough money to pay. Like, everything was hard.
So to summarize there, I think my main task was, these guys were, engineers and had been for 10, 15 years already by the time I arrived. And so they were looking at me like, can you get some sales? Can you get some new customers? Because we have...
I'll try.
Yeah. So but I didn't for at least 2 or 3 years because it was difficult to sell that. So we're like I'm trying to sell it. We're trying to upsell and kind of migrate our old legacy customer base. Had some success doing that. But it wasn't until 2014 when we finally cut ties with the legacy system that I was able to give a very polished, coherent presentation and start actually acquiring new customers. So I burned out as a programmer, I burned out as a salesperson, and then I don't know why you guys kept me around, but
It was the Brazilian margaritas.
I was good for that. Those were nights.
And you look really cute in the bow tie.
And the bow tie.
There you go.
That's good.
I've been told.
Have you seen that skit where Chris Farley is trying out to be a Chippendale?
I have. Oh yeah.
That's one of my favorites. Yeah, with
Oh,
Patrick
yeah.
with Patrick Swayze.
Yeah, with Patrick Swayze. So while we were, we had this tiny, it was like a one-room office that had then like a closet and a bathroom. And so we were all just hanging out in there. And every day at 3 o'clock, we would go play stupid ball. And we had these, they were like small leather hacky sacks and some tennis balls. And so we'd go outside and throw the hacky sack like across the parking lot and into some grass. And then we'd play like some kind of stupid version of bocce ball where, whoever's tennis ball got closest, and we did that every day. And there was a lot of trash talk associated with that little game at 3 o'clock every day.
It was fun times, but we were not. Yeah.
Very stressful times, but also
Paycheck to paycheck situation. We're scrapping.
it was a lot of years.
An origin story.
Yeah.
Those are always the best Marvel movies. Don't you agree, Taylor?
I have no opinion. I may maintain a complete disinterest in Marvel movies.
Well, I'm over here for the people.
I love it. I enjoy the universe. I wouldn't say I love it, but I enjoy it.
I enjoy the universe is a profound statement.
Thank you. Yes, I'm a thinker. Okay. Tell me about your first sale.
Oh, goodness.
Wow.
So would this be a...
Of Cetec, okay? I don't want to know, like, if you sold Boy Scout popcorn or something.
Your Pokemon cards, or
Do legacy customers count?
no. Tell me the one that was significant for you as a first sale.
Okay, yeah. I don't know if I get to name names. There might be an NDA in play here.
Yeah, you probably don't want to do that. Describe it.
I think so, yeah. So I started in 2012.
Rhymes with.
Right. 2012 to 2014, 0 sales, sir. That was discouraging. 2014, we actually started to convert some of our legacy customers. 2016 was, I think, the first meaningful, like, this is a manufacturing company that's been around a while. There's, 50, 100 people there. Go through the sales process, prove everything out, and they select us over NetSuite. And I think I closed the sale while my wife was in labor. Like, I was actually at the hospital. which was that. Maybe that's why it's memorable.
That's some hustle right there.
My wife is very proud of me. She'll remember this when she's not watching this podcast.
Yeah, thank you, Kayla, for your contributions.
I worked really hard that day. That was Calvin. That was our third. He's 10 now. Yeah. So that was memorable. During the sales process,
That was the Virginia company?
yeah, Virginia company. And they were mixed mode manufacturing, so they did some process way down in the product mix and then some final assembly. So it was reasonably complex. And I remember during demos, we'd actually hired I really had burnt out of sales. It wasn't happening. And part of that was the product immaturity. Part of that was just I had no experience with learning. So we hired a salesperson that was pretty polished, like inspired confidence.
Shiny.
Very good. And there was a time where I had to kind of flex a little bit of product knowledge during the demos because they were asking these, difficult questions. And it was like it was a co-hosted demo. And so there was some jockeying for who's going to get credit for the demo. Yeah. That was memorable. But we pushed through it, made it happen. That was fun.
2 weeks ago at Apex, I'm talking to a guy who's interested in Cetec and having to proof out. He's asking me all the are you legit as a company? Are you going to go under? And he's like, well, how many companies do you have now? And how many did you have 5 years ago? And it was just I had to go think about we're very different than where we were when I got hired. Yep. And that's kind of
well, it was interesting. The first years were
almost 5 times as many users.
Yeah. Come a long way. The first years were rough, man. Because you do these demos, and even if you prove it out, hey, the software's strong, we can do all these things. You could ask for a reference. Well, do you have any other customers at all, or at least in my industry? Yeah. It's oh.
Well, they're more hypothetical, theoretically speaking.
Well, they directly ask, hey, can I talk to somebody who you've sold to before? How many, customers do you have? And you're well, we've got 3.
I wonder how much of that is unique to ERP versus just any real startup that people have in terms of getting. I think every startup, every small company has an initial climb to get over, a level of momentum. And I realize there are some, generic services companies, generally with a very low moat, or barrier to entry, that you can kind of jump in and immediately begin bidding and competing and trying to win business. But I think, especially any manufacturer that has a dedicated product line, or your OEM, or there's just a lot to get to a point that, going from 5 million to 15 million is much easier than going from 0 to 1 million.
Well, if I'm in the customer's shoes and I'm selecting a software that's going to run my business for the next 25 years, I want to talk to references, and I'm not going to maybe take the risk on a product with no.
Or even if you don't, if oh yeah, I know these other people run them, or this is kind of the standard for my industry, or
we had none of that.
The first time I heard somebody say, "Oh, you guys are you're the standard in our industry," well, I just stored that one away as oh my gosh,
the standard is the standard.
Yeah. I've never been so happy to have somebody tell me, "Oh, yeah, we picked you because you're the standard in our industry." And I was like, "Oh, is it okay if I kiss you right now?"
Yep. Hey, would you?
Oh, here you go. Sorry.
You kind of have some experience in the service industry, so natural.
I'm just gonna pour for me first.
I'm really looking. Oh wow! I'm really looking forward to. It's a full mug. I won't drive home until 7 or 8.
I am honestly some of those memories are still just
Yeah, it was somewhat traumatizing.
You know, like you talk to like Depression era people, and like they're hoarding things in their attic and all this stuff. Like, oh, those old newspapers are gonna be worth something someday. What if we have to? And you're like, wow, calm down. But that stuff is like, it still does kind of.
Well, it's interesting from comparatively. I was still like at Cetec in a like infant-esque stage, or like
Infantile.
slightly like pre-adolescent, right? Like we're about to hit puberty, but
We got on the metaphors. Just keep going, bud.
you know that this could be the summer where
keep going.
a lot of things change. Like to see, like those things, some of those have become, I mean, I think very embedded into like the ethos of who Cetec is, what Cetec is, and feels very aligned with like our pricing model and like our transparency, and like there's a continual like not attempt to cut corners, but to be just very like frugal, pragmatic with everything. And so there are certain points where you're like, we could take this like different route and it would be much more expensive, and like continually the choice is to like hold to this value, and like when like the CMMC thing, we win on that.
That's true.
Right?
That's maybe a background story for the listening audience. CMMC is a set of DoD requirements for security around certain types of data, mostly CUI, which is controlled unclassified information, and ask your auditor what data you have that qualifies as CUI.
Why is it CUI and not DUI?
I guess somebody got there first on that one. So they just
one is illegal and one's
controlled.
I can help you finish that drink if you need.
Thanks.
And so with CMMC, there's all these audit requirements, and we have already kind of dealt with like if you think about your 4 levels is how we talk about it here, where there's I have no government requirements around my data. I have State Department ITAR requirements. I have DoD CMMC level 1, 2, 3 whatever requirements, or you go all the way up and you have classified data, which is the most extreme, most difficult. We have already dealt with 4. So because we have a path for dealing with classified data, it meant that we can kind of dodge and do that for just take our CMMC and roll it into that program, which solves the whole thing and gets us out of $400,000 of audits.
Yeah, every 5 years for something that still is a little bit of a moving target. Yeah. So anyway, so it's interesting to see
MC.
DoD.
Yeah, can't touch this.
You know me. One of the things that was going on in those early days was Google Fiber was rolling out. So that was some inspiration where you had talk about moats, like a very wide moat of an entire industry. And Google's just deciding to, let's see if we can go and do it better, cheaper, and see if we can, move the needle and force our competitors to lower their prices. And then that actually worked, I think, right? Yeah.
Oh, you go from 200 meg, massive cable modem pipe thing for $300 a month to a gig on fiber for $70 a month. Yeah. And everybody's like, oh no, we're in trouble.
That was like in the early days, you kind of, I think you latch on to well, everything sucks right now, so what are we doing and why? Well, ERP is this whole world of, bloat and cost, and can we do the same thing for better? And we can. Yeah.
We still get into that occasionally when we talk to potential resellers. And they will complain because the pricing isn't high enough. There's not enough fat on the bone for them to take a significant amount of the dollars. Yeah. It's like, we're not changing pricing. I'm sorry, man.
Yep. The internet service provider metaphor works in a couple ways because everybody's familiar with the idea of I'm going to switch my ISP, and somebody gets on the phone are you sure you want to do that? What if we offer you some discounts? And you threaten to leave, you kind of feint the threat a little bit. Well, we can really discount it. Don't leave, please.
This is in dealing with your ISP, not marriage advice.
Correct.
You know me.
Correct. Kayla, who is certainly going to watch this.
My grandma asked for a link to the podcast.
Nice, man.
That's wonderful.
She probably loves it. You do a good job.
Thanks. Yeah.
We
Hi, Grammy.
Our competitors will start, actively discounting their prices when they're competing with us. And, they get on the phone, the customer, like, well, we're looking at Cetec and they're like, 5 times less. Well, we can do that. We can do that. So we rejoice when all of our competitors have to start laying on the discount. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is interesting. I think that the commoditized ERP kind of leads me to a tangential thought on like the development of our messaging and how we like. So we have a clear idea in our heads of this is what we're trying to do. How do you present that value proposition? And as the like de facto sales guy, marketing, like you're the one having to really figure out how do we communicate this in a way that makes sense, because we think it's compelling, but other people have to think that it's compelling. And so I think that like has laid the groundwork for things that we've been playing with for years.
Yeah.
I'm curious, like your thoughts on that.
Not that that's exactly your problem currently.
Sure.
But it was initially.
Yeah.
And it still is your passion.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I think one of my favorite things about, working for this company is the honest attempt to offer value. That metaphor earlier of somebody on the phone with your internet service provider, whoever it is, they start offering discounts. And if I'm a consumer, I'm wondering, like, why is it that you didn't start with that? Like, obviously you can.
But maybe it's that people feel like they've negotiated their way to success.
Sure.
Like, you know what that thing was supposed to cost?
In a world of transparency here, yeah, that starts to feel like almost insulting. Like, man, I know what this does. I know what it could cost. Why don't we just commoditize it? And that's been the vision the whole time. Max transparency, maximum value, and we don't negotiate with terrorists.
Or with anybody.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't...
We get asked. We get asked if we can negotiate on an hourly rate. We get asked if we can negotiate on user licenses.
Yeah. Posting pricing online is a real, like, establishing of...
This is
That's what it is, yeah.
Which is still not normal in ERP. It's becoming, maybe there's a couple people that do it.
But
There are more now than there were.
Yeah.
It wasn't a party of one.
I think because of the complexity, because of the risk, people just build this, impression that it has to be a real serious thing on which negotiation is probably even appropriate. And it's just, it's a bit of a farce, has been our take for many years.
Yeah. Well, that's like Taylor said, that capitalism is on one side, like the ability to charge what you want. Well, it's what you can charge what you want. There was another phrase there, but
Charge of the market will bear.
yeah. But it's the ability to charge what you want, and like that's the
we want.
the market bears. From some of our friends that are in PE, and are like, you could charge 3x.
Definitely.
You could.
Yeah. Good.
My father-in-law's in PE.
Yeah.
That's a joke. He's a coach. He's a
Coach. Yeah, so I think we all saw that. Yeah.
Pun culture. Being a dad is nice at Cetec. There's a large pun culture.
There is a lot of dads. Thank you for listening to the Build Your Way podcast here at Cetec ERP. You can find us in all your usual spots on YouTube, on Spotify, or even on Instagram and Farmers Only.
Hit the subscribe button or swipe right.
Whichever works for you. Thanks for listening. If you have any requests or topics you want us to discuss, hit us at podcast@ctecherp.com. Thank you. Until the next episode. Cheers.